All right, in this video I'll be doing some of the problems in the homework, problems 5 through 8, just to see some examples of what we talked about in section 5.1. So here, if a person spins a 6-space spinner and then flips a coin, describe the sample space of possible outcomes using 1 through 6 for the spinner outcomes and H and T for the coin outcomes. So basically you spin the spinner and then you flip a coin. So you could get a 1 and a head, 2 and a head, 3 head, 4 head. Notice we're supposed to separate our answers with commas, and 6 heads. And then we could get 1 through 6 with the tail as our outcome when we flip the coin. So it'd be 1 tail, 2 tail, 3 tail, 4 tail, 5 tail, and 6 tail. So those are all our possible outcomes when you spin the spinner and then flip a coin. So let's go ahead and check our answer. Let's move on to number 6. So here, let the sample space be the numbers 1 through 10. Suppose the outcomes are equally likely. Compute the probability of the event E, an odd number less than 10. So if you look at our set, odd numbers less than 10, E is going to be the set with 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 in it. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that set, 5 numbers, so it's going to be 5/10 or 0.5. All right, let's move on to number 7. So a survey of 400 randomly selected high school students determined that 14 play organized sports. Well, that's interesting. That's not very many. What is the probability that a randomly selected high school student plays organized sports? Well, in this case, it's 14 out of 400 that, based on our data, play sports. So that's basically, there's basically 14 people in the set that play organized sports out of the total population here, which is 400. So 14 divided by 400, and I'm getting 35 thousandths. What is the probability that a randomly selected high school student plays organized sports? Based on our data here, it's 35 thousandths. It does say round to the nearest thousandth. Choose the correct answer below. Interpret this probability. So basically, we read this 35 thousandths. So in other words, if 1,000 students were sampled, we would expect that 35 of them play organized sports. So it's going to be this one here. And actually, it's not exact. It's actually an approximation because it's based on empirical data. You know, data we know has variation when we collect data. Let's see, so it was 35 out of 1,000. All right, so just remember it's not exact. That's why it does say it would be expected that about 35 play. Okay. So number 8 here, a bag of 100 tulip bulbs purchased from a nursery contains 35 red tulip bulbs, 30 yellow tulip bulbs, and 35 purple tulip bulbs. What is the probability that a randomly selected tulip bulb is red? Well, there's 35 red out of a total of 100. You can add up these numbers, but they do add up to 100. And so 35 out of 100, that's 35%, or 0.35, 35 hundredths. Notice it is saying type a decimal. The probability that a randomly selected tulip bulb is purple, well, let's see, purple, there were 35. So it's again going to be 35 hundredths, or 35 out of 100. Select the correct choice below and fill in the answer boxes within your choice. If 100 tulip bulbs were sampled with replacement, one would expect about blank the bulbs to be red and about blank the bulbs to be purple. Well, based on our information here, 35 out of 100, and you can see that from where we started, 35 of the 100 were red and 35 out of the 100 were purple. So we would expect if 100 were sampled, 35 would be red, about 35, and about 35 would be purple. All right, and that's it. So that's it for the examples. I hope that was helpful. That's the end of our video.